Why, hello, and thank you for choosing the Vegan Luna podcast. If you came here to listen to influencers, business owners, people that are really making a change in this world and really creating some amazing ideas and amazing inventions, then you came to the right show. This show showcases some of the top people in the world that are making an impact, whether it's the environment, whether it's for health, or whether it's for the animals. This podcast is also available on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcast, Stitcher, and anywhere else you can find podcasts. I'd like to thank my sponsors, Purium, for providing some of the best organic superfoods that you could find on the market, as well as Vegan Nation, who is the first ever company to create a cruelty-free currency. Hello and welcome to the Vegan Luna podcast. We're here with a super special guest that comes to us in a way via video from Italy, which is absolutely amazing because I know it's a very beautiful place, but as we know, there's some challenges going in with Italy that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But her name is Camilla Parmigiani. Did I say that correct?
Yes, correct.
Yes, okay,
correct.
Awesome.
Hello, Kevin.
Hello.
Hi.
So she's a vegan influencer and consultant and a content creator and a food writer. So she's doing a lot of amazing things, and I'm so excited for everyone to get a chance to meet her and get to know her. But first of all, before we get into the podcast, we have our quick vegan questions to start the day. So question number one, what is the biggest myth about veganism? What's the biggest myth that you hear all the time that just like, that's not true?
So probably the biggest myth is that vegans are all like sad, depressed people, pale people, not healthy, without muscles. I think that's the main wrong myth around veganism. And I think that reality is totally the opposite. And that there are many sportsmen now, many wonderful celebrities, and this is a very extraordinary, happy, and healthy world. So I think that's together with the protein fails myth, this is the other wrong idea that people have around veganism.
Yeah, it's so true. And it's funny when people say the opposite, you know what I mean? Like, let's say there is a vegan that breaks all those stereotypes. Let's say they're really strong, they look like they're in great shape, then they're just like, oh, you're using steroids. And it's like, really? So there's always an excuse, you know what I mean? And
Well,
I feel like those kind of myths or excuses, they're not real. They don't really think that. They just kind of want to sidestep the topic, you know what I mean? So it's just easy for them to put a reason why they can't do something or they won't do something, because they know deep down inside that they're not even willing to try, you know what I mean? And so I think that's a common one, you know, that not willing, there's if someone has no reason to change, sometimes they're not likely if they don't have a good reason.
Yeah. They like to put us in that corner, thinking that we are that way, but they are so wrong. And I think that in the last 2 years, things have been changing so quickly that they are realizing how wrong they are.
Yeah, it's almost like that may be a myth in the past, but that's kind of like being squashed, like it's being debunked.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. All right, cool. So next question I want to ask you is, explain to me the current state of Italy and the coronavirus. Like, what's going on over there? You're in the heat of it. You're in the battle, like the battle zone. What's happening?
Yeah, well, you know, Kevin, I'm talking to you from Brescia, which is one of the major towns in northern Italy that are, struggling against this virus. And I'm talking to you from the lockdown in my house. I'm not allowed to go out if not for work, for business, or to go to the grocery shop. I need to have also like a form filled because if the police stops me, I need to have a reason to be out of my place. And this is kind of scaring. But at the same time, I totally understand all these strict measures because the situation here is really, hospitals are crowded at the moment. The situation is really awful and scaring. But at the same time, I'm really proud of my country because we are trying our best to keep the spirit high. You've probably seen all these videos of Italians singing on the balconies during this this time. A lot of people is going to give his blood to the hospital because we run out of blood. There are many money fundraising. All the VIP in Italy, all the wealthy people is giving a lot of money to help the hospitals. So what I'm really proud of my country because I have to tell you the truth, Kevin. I've seen some videos of people in LA lining up to buy guns. I don't know if this is true or is this a fake news.
For me, I haven't seen that personally, but it doesn't surprise me. There's a lot of people in the U.S. that have they're very fearful, and they're ready. They're kind of like ready for something to go bad, and so sometimes they really are almost excited, that like maybe the world's ending or the system's going to break down or, like stuff like that. And I think that they might be some of those people that are really kind of fearful as well. I mean, I think fear can really grip people in different ways, not fear is very powerful, and it's something that often can be uncontrollable at times, but also controlled. If you can control fear, you can create a lot of power. And so I think that some of this fear drives people in different directions. When you think my family's life is in danger, I'm in danger, I might run out of food, and then your fear mechanism and your survival mechanism starts kicking in. And I think like so many people are going to react in so many different ways. Like I'm not even the type of person that's going to go like get a bunch of food and stock up and all that sort of stuff. But when I
totally agree.
When I went to the supermarket and I saw everybody with shopping carts full and the shelves almost empty, I was like, I bought a little bit more canned things and things that I wouldn't have got normally just because of the situation that was going on. I was like, what if I come back and there is nothing? Like I think that some people are thinking like that because it's only natural.
I hate that attitude. That's so selfish. Like you just care about yourself. Once you are okay, the rest of the world can die. That's horrible attitude, in my opinion. I didn't do that. Even at the beginning here, when the rumor started that they were going to close all the main things, bar, restaurants, and stuff like that. But I definitely didn't run to the supermarket, to the grocery, collecting stuff and toilet paper and these crazy things. But I think it's terrible. And this idea of people lining up to buy guns is like beyond. So
that adds to the fear. That adds to the fear, though, right?
Yeah.
Like it adds to their fear, but also adds to everyone else's fear. Like because no one knows what's going to happen, because this isn't something that we've been through. So it isn't something that we can be like, oh, I remember last time when it happened, I did this and this and this. Everyone's like, I don't even know. There isn't even a protocol or what to do. Or even if you look at the news outlets and you follow the media, they tell you to stock up. They say you need 2 weeks worth of food. You need 3 weeks worth of food. If you're hearing that and you're an average person, you're likely to go try and get 2 weeks, 3 weeks worth of food. You know what I mean? And if you're also inside, you're also holding a lot more people. So then if you eat out, a certain amount of time, you might not even calculate properly the amount of food that you really need to survive. So I think some of that is going on as well. But also people are selfish people. We're all a little bit selfish for most of us, and the ones that are really selfish, it just highlights and amplifies who they really are. Kind of like in a time of crisis or panic. It kind of shows
Absolutely.
a little bit of who maybe you really are, deep down inside. But also,
I totally agree.
what you're saying is about the potential or the rumors and that sort of stuff. What I'm hearing now is that we are 2 weeks behind where Italy is. In 2 weeks, the US is going to be in the same state as you. They're already locking down San Francisco, right? As the time that we're recording this, right? Is Los Angeles next?
Absolutely.
I'm in San Diego. Is San Diego next? So then the question is,
Yeah.
if we are next, and you are locked down for 3 weeks, do you have enough food? So that's just a valid question, right?
Yeah.
As far as
Yeah.
like, just is it
For
enough?
sure, this virus is quick because in some way it's not that lethal. So its danger is that it's very quick, and you can have a lot of people in the same time with the virus. And so that's the big problem. It's going to be a problem for the hospitals to take care of all these sick people. Maybe I also have it and I don't even know. Maybe I don't even have symptoms. Maybe I did it and I don't even know because I'm healthy. But if you have a former sort kind of disease or whatever, you're weak and you are in real danger. That's the big point of this virus, and it's quick. It's very quick.
Yeah,
but if people is going to follow the rules, so stay 1 meter far, don't go in crowded places, wash the hands very careful, don't touch stuff, things can be controlled, I think. And especially one of the major thing is not to be afraid of it, because fear is a big enemy for our immune system.
Yeah. What do you think is the craziest thing that you've seen so far in Italy, or something that maybe scares you a little bit?
The craziest thing is that when they gave the news that they were going to shut down almost everything, a lot of people from Milan took a train all the trains in the middle of the night to go back to their homes in South Italy. And so they brought the virus down South Italy. So now the big crisis is in the north, but soon will be in the south, where also the healthy system, the sanitary system is not at the level of the north of Italy. So it's going to be even more dangerous. So why these people acted like that? That has been scary to see all the people running, catching last minute train, crazy. So this is really scary situation, and the fact that they act without thinking to their relatives, their families.
Yeah, 100%. All right. So my next question is eating meat the cause of some of these deadly viruses that we're seeing, like Ebola and SARS and MERS, and now the COVID-19 coronavirus? Is eating meat or eating animals really the cause of a lot of this? And if we stop, like, could we prevent some of these things?
Well, all these huge, crazy virus come from China, and they're connected to animals. So these are viruses that come from animals. And the fact that they have these open markets with all these animals, and all these recent and huge viruses come from there. It's also the SARS, this coronavirus, and all the latest virus come from there. And it's proved that they come from animals. So that's a big point. That's the point. We can't go ahead eating meat, and especially to have the animals treated in this way, because this is also affecting us. In some way, I'm more worried about the animals, because I think they are so innocent. They are just victims. But this is a consequence of our actions. We can keep doing this. And also in the region where I live, in northern Italy, there are many cows and farming, but like huge, we are famous for some kind of hams and stuff like that. And they don't cause a great pollution, but also they can cause diseases, not just the consumption, but also the fact that all these animals are together, chickens, yes, it's proved.
Even the diseases, even the diseases that maybe aren't new, or maybe the diseases that everybody kind of knows about, like let's say just like E. coli and Salmonella, those are just some basic ones that people get all the time. And they say, oh, cooking the meat raw. If we were designed 100%, we were designed to eat meat, whether carnivore, whether 100% omnivore, we wouldn't be getting these diseases. Animals that are supposed to eat meat don't get Salmonella or E. coli infections. They eat the meat raw. They can handle it. We have to cook everything thoroughly prepared. But another big issue that I think is coming, or hasn't maybe really soon, is the antibiotic resistance. So over 80% of the animals in the U.S. are fed the antibiotics, right? Yeah. And so when people eat the meat, they get the antibiotics, and eventually your body will be resistant. So there's a lot of strains that are potentially coming out. So what if, this one is, let's say the death rate is 3% on the coronavirus. What if we get one of the viruses that's just as easily spread as the coronavirus, but it has like a 70-80% death rate? Like that's the stuff that's the stuff that's in movies. But these things, you're seeing that it's almost like these viruses are just like us. They want to survive, they want to thrive, they want to grow, they want to build, they want to expand. You know what I mean? And so they're going to find any way to expand, and we're giving them a lot of challenges to grow and expand. Absolutely. And multiply, and so many different types of animals and different types of DNA, that these viruses are only going to get stronger. They're only going to get worse. The antibiotic resistant is only going to get worse. Like, now's the time to stop eating animals. If you're on the fence or you've been thinking about it, not for you, but for anyone listening, now's the time. Now's the time to do the research and say, why shouldn't I eat animals? Look for the reasons why you shouldn't, not for the reasons why you should, because the reasons why you shouldn't far outweigh the reasons why you should, because we don't have to, right? Yeah. So I think that's something that's really important.
There are so many reasons not to eat meat. So disease of the virus is one reason. Then is that our digestive system isn't done to digest meat. It takes 72 hours for a human to totally make everything out if you have eaten meat. Then,
and that's if you have a healthy digestive system. Really quick, that's if you're healthy. It could be longer if you have a little bit of blockage, constipation, or some internal intestinal issues. You're right. That's if you're healthy. If you're not healthy, it could be longer, sometimes a week. Imagine a piece of meat that isn't properly digested sitting on the counter. It's going to get really moldy and lots of bacteria, viruses. Yeah.
Yeah. And also one other thing that really impressed me is that when you eat meat, you eat also the fear that the animal felt when it has been killed.
The hormones.
So also from a spiritual sense of, from a spiritual point of view, you're eating the fear. You're feeding yourself with fear, and that's so horrible if you think about it. I don't know.
They've shown that hormone that the animals release, whether eating, whether dying, that helps to manifest disease as well. Is all those fear hormones, the cortisol and everything pumping through their bodies. That's like a distress, that's supposed to save their life, but there's no saving their life, at that time.
It's
you know
horrible. It's
um
horrifying.
yeah, and
To
that
me,
gets
it's
everywhere.
horrifying.
Yeah, it's crazy. So thank you so much for the quick vegan questions. Thank you for sharing the status of Italy and the coronavirus. I know that's a really big topic right now. Anyone that's listening, this is being recorded as of Tuesday, March 17th. So if anything has changed since then, you know what I mean? This is when it's recorded. So now I want to get you a chance to share a little bit about you. So share a little bit about you.
Yeah, with pleasure. So as you said, my name is Camilla. I'm from Italy. And I'm vegetarian since I was 17 years old because, I always had this sensitiveness towards the weakest and animals in particular. And also when I was a kid, I tell you this small story. I was at the supermarket with my mom and I saw roast chicken, in the fridge. And I was like crying and touching them because I was crying. I didn't understand as a kid how it was possible to have all those dead animals in the fridge. To me, nobody teach that to me. It was just my sensitiveness and my idea. And then but I come from a traditional Italian family, so I was compelled to eat meat. But when I was 17, I was like, I can't do this no more. So I stopped, and let's say around 4 years ago, I decided to become 100% vegan. It took a while to me because I've always been a cheese fan, and so I was like afraid not to eat pizza margherita anymore. So, but at the very end, if I knew it was so easy, for sure I would have done it before. And I've been working in the hotel business for, let's say, around 17 years. And that's why at a certain point I've decided to apply all this passion I have for the vegan food and the hospitality business. So I try to help restaurants and hotels to put vegan options in their menu, because as you know, there is still a lot to do about this, because some are trying, but the result it's not that good yet. So I try my best because, Kevin, I've been pushing people toward becoming vegetarian for many years. I had so many discussions in my life that at one point I decided to change a bit my perspective and realized that the best way to change the mindset of people is just to give the best example. So they get very curious, they want to know, and in this way I think I affected a bit more than just keeping pushing and tell people what to do, because nobody wants someone else to tell them what to do. So
yeah,
this
and
is a short
yeah, there's also real like science behind like whether it's be an example, but even what I've been reading a lot now is about how behavior change can lead to like changing of the mindset. You know what I mean? For example, if I share with you like, hey, you know what I mean, if you eat, let's say, a vegan burger, you'll reduce 99% less water, 90% less greenhouse gases, no animal has to die, this much less land usage. I could share all that information with you, but most people are going to be like, I don't really care, right? But if you say, hey, try this burger's delicious, and they eat it, this is really good. Hey, did you know that also this burger is blah, blah, blah? Then they're more likely to listen. They're more open because you actually made a behavior change. So you going into restaurants, or you offering options and them getting a chance to have that behavior change, it's going to shift their mindset. I can tell you lots of stories of people, well, not lots of stories, but a few people that I know specifically that, maybe I'm sharing some information, talking to them, and they're just like, la, 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 I don't want to hear, for whatever reason, just very close-minded. That's fine. Some people are like that. But then they come up to me like, oh my God, I had this vegan burger. I couldn't believe it. It tasted like, real meat. And then they wanted to talk. Now they wanted to have a conversation. Now they wanted to see. And so I'm a huge believer in that, in the setting the example, but also helping people to get behavior change, because the behavior change is proven to lead to the mindset change. So many people are working on mindset. Don't get me wrong. There's countless people out there that will change based on mindset, but there's a whole nother percentage of people that will not. And they'll only change once some of the behaviors start changing. There are some people out there that will not change a single thing they do. But if they walk into the supermarket and they see two meats next to each other, right? And one is cheaper and one is more expensive, and they buy the cheaper one, and it happens to be vegan, they won't even care. Like they don't care about the animals. They don't care about the environment. They care that this meat that they like is cheaper than the other one, and it tastes just as good or better. And that's it. And so I believe in the Beyond Meat companies and the Impossible Food companies and the companies that are Just Egg, and there's so many countless others that are doing that, but also people just like you that are getting those foods into the markets, into the restaurants. That is also just as important. For example, if like a great company comes out, or a great idea or great food comes out, but they can't get into the restaurants, and they have other people getting them into the restaurants, like it's great for both parties. And it's great for the restaurant. Like you say, I've heard you talk about, it's great for the restaurant because now they can incorporate so many more people. So before they might be limited. Like I'll tell you, there's times where I'm like, oh, let's go to a restaurant, and I might be with a group of friends, and not everyone's vegan. And they're like, the good news is if you go to a vegan restaurant, everybody can eat there. But that's great news. Everyone can, meat eaters, omnivores, everyone can eat at a vegan restaurant. Well, everyone can eat at any restaurant, even vegans, but vegans choose not to eat at the other restaurants that are, don't have vegan options. So that limits a lot of people, right? And restaurants that are smart, and they see trends, and they see about trends, they're smart. They need to get these options in there. So absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for them. First of all, because, okay, I'm vegan, but I don't go on my own in a restaurant. I go with my boyfriend, I go with my friends. So if you don't have vegan options, you're not just losing myself, you're losing 10 people table. So, and that's one thing. The other thing is that everybody's talking about sustainability nowadays. And many hospitality operators act like meat. It's not part of sustainability. They, take care about the energy, plastic, and stuff like that. So the other thing I'm trying to do very hard, and what I'm pushing is that to have vegan options is very important if you want to label yourself as sustainable. Because if you have a menu with every kind of animal, like from every kind of animal, how can you call yourself sustainable?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what's the reason? Why? What does it cost to have at least one starter, one first course, one main course, one dessert? What does it cost to you? And this is going also to to make your brand and your name. It's going to give a value to your brand and to your name.
Yeah, it does.
So,
there's a local supermarket that we just did an action a few days ago, like a disruption, right? At the supermarket. And the biggest reason why is kind of what you're saying. They claim to be natural. They claim to be healthy. They claim to be sustainable. They claim to be all these things. And people go there and they feel really good. They're like, man, I'm getting organic. I'm getting free range, I'm getting natural, I'm getting, these are good for me, it's good for the environment, and they get all this messaging, but if you peel the layer back a little bit deeper, you're realizing that that's not true. And so the challenge, and one thing that we're trying to communicate to this particular establishment in my local area, is that you can't claim these things if you're selling dead animals that came from a tortured place. And the organization that I volunteer for, they've done 2 investigations into their poultry farms, and I think into one of their other farms, 2 farms, and they saw abuse, and they saw dead animals, and they saw sick animals. So they could see they have the footage from the investigation and the proof that it isn't true. And the reason why that one is different, right? Let's say that restaurant, a lot of people say, why? I mean, not that restaurant, that supermarket, because they do a lot of good things, right? That they do a lot of good things as well, right? And have a lot of good products. And they're like, why not focus on one of the other ones that's really bad? I'm like, well, the ones that are really bad aren't claiming these things. So they're actually not lying. They're not good, but they're not telling you that it's natural or good for you when it's not. They're just saying, here's what we have and choose what you want. You know what I mean? Here's the meat section. Here's the dairy section. Here's the veggie section.
It's called greenwashing. That's greenwashing. They act like they're green, but they're not. So that's the point.
Interesting. Yeah. So I want you to take me back a little bit for you, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Can you share a little bit more details of like why did you decide to give up animal products? I know Italy, like you said briefly, you got the food, you got the traditions. I mean, you got, the pizza and the pasta and the lasagna and all the things that we know for Italian food, worldwide, and everyone loves Italian food. And I always think Italian food for sure is cheesy, for sure is mozzarella, right? And it's so funny too, like the culture of and traditions of Italy versus all the other countries. And it's so interesting, is like, no matter where I go, I hear the same thing. My culture does this, my tradition does this, we're used to eating animals. The truth is they all are. Yes, some are more, but I always say, like, if an American can do it, because America eats more meat per person than any country in the world, right? And you know what's number 2? Kuwait is number 2, which is kind of crazy. I lived there for 2 years. They're the second most, like, per person, the most kilograms of meat per person, like something like, and it's like very close. It's like 270 kilograms per person versus like 268. You know what I mean? Is number 2. I don't know where Italy is on that.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I don't know where Italy is on that, but Italy has to be near the top of cheese, which I always say cheese and dairy products are actually more cruel than the meat products, because the longevity that they're suffering for is so much longer, right? Where a typical, let's say, beef cow might be a year and a half, of raising, where a typical dairy cow might be 5 or 6 years. And it's not only the suffering of the pain of the machines, right? Where beef cows just get to walk and eat, right? Dairy cows are actually kind of tortured for a while, but also they're forcibly impregnated over and over. Their babies are stolen. So a lot of emotional trauma, a lot of physical pain, a lot of, and when they're done, like when they're actually like spent and they're too tired, they become beef anyways. They become the part of the meat industry anyway. So it's to me, it's actually worse. But I'd be interested on you. I'm sure that was the hardest thing for like most people, was cheese. So tell me a little bit about what did you see? What made you change your mind? Because it's not easy.
Well, first of all, I realized that cheese is poison. I've never been like a milk fan, so I never, I didn't use to drink milk anyway, despite in the cappuccino maybe. But for sure, I used to, as a vegetarian, I used to eat a lot of cheese. And at some point I realized that, first of all, that's poison, because as you know, as adults, we are not done to digest all that nutrients. So it's really poison for the body. And then I realized that I needed to be honest and coherent on my decisions. And the fact not to eat meat wasn't enough. So I needed to be 100%. For sure, I don't pretend to be perfect, because nobody's perfect on this world. But I said, if I want to at least do my thing to protect and to give a good message, I have to cut cheese and as well to cut the cappuccino, and so cut the eggs and everything connected to it. So from one day to the other, I took my decision, and that was it. So, and honestly, it's not that bad. They're making, a very good vegan cheese now in Italy. It's done just with 3 ingredients, which are nuts, water, and salt. That's no preservatives, and that's very good. That's excellent. So when I'm starving for cheese, I eat that one. There is also a very nice pizzeria on the lake close where I live, and they make this beautiful pizza with vegan mozzarella, which is excellent. So I'm happy, and I don't need to drink or eat anything that comes from a raped calf. So I feel better with myself. I feel so much better. I'm so happy, and I really hope that people will understand that there's no need, and that's unhealthy too. That's so unhealthy. People have no idea how unhealthy is milk and cheese.
And
It's
cheese
poison.
cheese is literally the waste product of milk. So there's two major proteins, right? In milk, there's whey protein, which a lot of people are familiar with, and casein protein. Well, the casein protein is the one that's in cheese. And also,
Yeah.
that's the protein that's designed to make the baby cow really, really want to come back to the mother cow, and kind of sends like good signals. It's like the feel good signals. And so too much of that can cause addiction, right? So the same kind of sensory pleasure that you get from like drugs and stuff that like enhance your senses, or your sensory pleasure, or your addictive qualities that makes you like feel good, right, are the same feelings that's coming from the casein, right? And when it goes in your body, it turns into casomorphins, right? And so that is designed for the baby cow to come back to the mother. But the problem is it's so concentrated in cheese. There's so much of it that it's like getting double, or not double. It's like getting like 10 times the amount that a baby cow would. So it is very addictive. But then it's also like 80% fat, so
Yeah.
so it's like an animal fat, like the worst fat that you can eat. So there's a whole host of kind of things within cheese. There's a book called
And in your stomach, it becomes like glue.
Yeah, it does.
People don't know that.
They don't know that. I worked in a pizza restaurant, and there would be pizza in the oven. When you would make the pizza, sometimes the cheese would fall off, right? So we had this like big mozzarella cheese. When a piece of that mozzarella cheese would come off and go onto the oven floor, like the wood, like the like the cement kind of like wood stone oven, right? That would stick there for so long, and it'd be so hard to get off. You're right, it is like glue. It was almost like cement to get this cheese off. And what's crazy is that's like 400 Celsius, or something like that. Like it's crazy hot. Guess what? Your body doesn't get 300 degrees Celsius, right? So imagine how hard it is for your body to get rid of it. And I used to always tell people, I would say, they'd be like, no way, that doesn't, like, and I would say, watch. And I would throw a green pepper in there, or some spinach, or a tomato into the oven, just onto the oven floor. And I would say, look what happens. Look what happens to these vegetables when they get hot. They just become dust. They're just dust. You know what I mean? Like, they're just small particles,
it's crazy.
they're ash, right? But that cheese would be there all day for sometimes.
No. In fact, it's and also it's done to make a calf grow. That's huge animal. So if you drink it or you eat those nutrients, what is gonna happen to you? No, it's crazy. It's crazy that people don't realize it. The dangers behind this consumption.
I know too.
Because you know what? You know what, Kevin? That in the past, maybe people used by the countryside to drink a glass of milk in the morning, but because maybe they used to quit lunch for dinner, they had just few things. And this I can understand. But today we have so much food that if you add meat, cheese, milk, this is an overdose of food. That's not eating. That's not eating.
Yeah, 100%. So I want you to share now a little bit more about what you do. So most people, not everyone, but I noticed since I've been talking to a lot of people, and they share why they went vegan, there's something that triggers inside them that they're like, okay, I've done this now. I've committed. I feel good. I feel happy. I feel healthy. I feel great. My conscience feels clear because I know that I'm not participating in something I don't agree with, right? Then they get almost like motivated to share with other people, right? And share their story or share their belief or help others to find this happiness as well, because we're all on that pursuit of happiness, right? And I think this is one key way that can help us. So what do you do now to give back? What do you do to share, to spread information, whether it's for the animals or for human health, environment?
So as said, I try to show, first of all, that I can live a very interesting and happy life without affecting on animals. And I do it trying to share the places where I go, to share people that I can have my breakfast, I can have my lunch, my marvelous, wonderful dinner, amazing wines, beautiful locations. And also I also on my website, Vegan Set, I also promote vegan designers, because also fashion is a very interesting topic, and a lot of designers are have been changing in the last year. They banned fur, they banned leather, so the thing is changing also about fashion. So I promote vegan designers. I talk about chefs. I also try to push chefs going to the restaurant and asking for vegan menus. So and the thing is also that my page and especially the Instagram account is followed by many hotelier, restaurant owners, chefs. So the thing is that they see that I go to that famous Michelin star chef, and he's been preparing for me a wonderful meal. So they say, I have to do the same. I can't be less than him. I need to. So it's kind of influencing each other. And the most you post and show, and it's like a chain, a wonderful chain. And that's the thing I daily do, trying to promote veganism on a charming way, let's see. And I also love to write articles. I try my best in describing all these wonderful places and meals, writing articles. And that's my thing. That's my thing.
Do you find it now it's a little bit challenging because like you were working with some of the restaurants and now there's a lot of closures and that sort of stuff? Does that slow you down a little
Yeah,
bit?
for sure. Now there's anything I can do, I am on a stop. But I posted today on my Instagram account the 5 places where I will go as soon as this is ending. And I will do my best as this awful situation will end, in promoting the Italian tourism and Italian restaurants and hotels, because we for sure will need all the world help, because we had really we're having strong damages, because all the cancellations. And so for sure, especially Venice, Venice had the eye water problem 2 months ago, and now this. So I will
Like
do my best to help.
Venice is like the perfect example of like environmental and like viral like kind of devastation, you know, like that could be easily linked to like eating animals, you know, like the
Yeah.
sea level rise and all that sort of stuff. And it's just,
Yes.
those are just lifelong damages, and like some places can't recover, like especially restaurants aren't big money makers. People think, oh, I want to open a restaurant and be restaurants don't make a lot of money. It's very tough, you know what I mean, for restaurants to make a lot of money, you know,
Yeah.
even
It's
some big chains.
yes.
So when you have these hiccups, these laps of like, no, you can't sell anything for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or however long it's going to be, some that could be enough to put these businesses under. There's going to be people that are out of work and out of jobs. Like the damage is like the repercussions of this hasn't even been seen yet, you know, and we don't even know when it'll end, let alone like, okay, now it's time to recover. It's not even time to recover. It's still like the damage is still
No.
hitting. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's going to be, it will take a while here, but now that it's starting abroad, if we leave, Italy lives with tourism from abroad, we need to wait that all the people from abroad ends so it's going to be tough here for many people, and I'm praying because hospitality is all about passion. If you don't have passion for this, you can't do it. So it's really sad to see all these people that was ready to start the season and open their hotels and restaurants, and they can't do it. They can't hire people. They can't hire the staff, and it's very sad. But I'm a positive person, so I'm sure we will fix this and everything will be fine. I'm sure 100%. And I will try to do my part. Even if it's small, I will do my best.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So, is there anything else that maybe you really want to share that's really important to you that you want the listeners to hear, or maybe something that you mentioned that you just want to reiterate? It's very important.
Well, I would like to tell people not. I'm talking about habits, daily habits, not to do things because the majority of the people is doing it. Just look in yourself and make a thing, and I think that people should be more conscious and at least try to be conscious about their decisions and the effects of their actions. So I think that every time people go to a supermarket, to a grocery shop, and buy a piece of meat, that's not a piece of plastic, it's meat. It's a piece of an animal. It comes from an animal that have been grown and killed to give a piece of meat. So trying to be would be nice if people would be a bit conscious and more conscious, and not just to make things because everybody else around is doing it.
Yeah,
That's
for
my
sure.
only
Yeah. Like,
recommendation, just to feel better, because you can really feel much better if your decision and your daily actions don't affect others, and especially the weakness like animals.
yeah, it's no longer a personal choice, like for you, if
It
it affects
is.
others, right? And even
Yeah.
with this virus, it's affecting so many people and so many lives that just so unnecessary. We never had to have this. Never had needed to happen,
Yeah.
you know, and it could have
And
ended.
also the last thing is that the fact that we think we are the smartest species on the planet, we are the strongest species on the planet. If we really are, we are even more responsible for what's happening on the planet and for the animals that are not able to defend themselves from us. So this make us even more responsible.
That's true.
Otherwise it's just cruel.
They say with great power comes great responsibility.
Exactly.
Right? And you're
exactly.
right. We have responsibility we have to take accountability for all our actions, and it's like, okay, everyone makes mistakes and we're going to make all kinds of mistakes, but why repeat the same ones over and over and over? We learned it, like, now let's try and prevent that one from happening again. It just seems logical, right? I mean, that's what I was always taught. Restaurants, hospitality, right? You make a mistake, it's fine, but let's find a way to stop that one from happening again. Like, that's kind of what, I mean, I was always taught everywhere I worked, right? Is that mistakes were okay, but like, let's stop it now. And prevent it from happening again. Then you look for the root cause. Like, those are just basic things that you learn. Even basic, like, stuff in school, you learn that stuff, but I don't think we apply it we like to treat symptoms. We're good at treating symptoms and not finding the root cause. And we can't even agree on the root cause of so many things, which is even more frustrating. Like, I think the root cause is this. I think it's this, like, it's pretty crazy. All right, cool. So where can people find you? Where are some places that people could reach out to you, connect with you?
My website is www.veganset.com. And then I have an Instagram account that it's veganset. And also on my LinkedIn page, which is Verde Camilla Parmigiani. So I would love to see you, and if all the people who is watching this podcast, I would love to meet them. I'm available to answer to any questions, any recommendation, or whatever.
All right, great. Yeah, so thank you so much. I'll be putting those links somewhere in here. And then, like, as always, you guys can hear this podcast on YouTube, on Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, pretty much anywhere podcasts are being shown. So those are the places you could find this. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate this. I plan to share some of this stuff pretty quick with the light of everything that's going on. And we'll be talking soon.
Thank you, Kevin. It was my pleasure to talk to you. Thank you for inviting. Thank you so much. Yes,
you're welcome. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
Ciao.
Thank you guys for listening to the podcast. Please, please, please make sure that you guys share this with anyone that you think will find this interesting, and also make sure that you guys are subscribed, because I can see a lot of you guys are listening, but you aren't subscribed. So please subscribe, and also don't forget to go to my website where you can leave comments and see more content at veganluna.com.